One and hello everyone. Welcome to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. My name is Zach. Here with me is Andrew, and we are back to talk all things Philly sports. Now, it's been a little while. It's on me. Some issues on my end. However, I am very excited. I've got my Eagles hat on. I've got my Phillies hoodie on. It's a great moment here at Philly Sports Now, and I would be remiss if I didn't at least say, do not worry, we will talk some Phillies. But it is Monday Night Football. It is September 9th. We just finished our week 1 slate of football, except for Monday night. So we got to start off with our Philadelphia Eagles, baby. Philadelphia Eagles coming out of Brazil with the win, finishing the game 34-29. A lot of things this game. First and foremost, we've said this before. I have to assume on the podcast. You can take your Friday Night Lights high school football team and shove it up your ass, because give me NFL football every Friday, and I would much rather that every single time. Every single time. No, I don't give a shit about your rinky-dink Friday Night Lights at high school. It's so great. The community comes together as a whole. It's so wholesome. I don't want to go watch some high schooler. I don't have kids. I don't have anyone in high school. I'm not going to go watch a high school here. That would be weird. I'm in my 30s. That's a red flag. You don't do that. So I have to watch it on Thursday night, and then I have to go into work the next day. Friday Night Football with NFL was awesome. It was awesome. I was smoking a buffalo chicken dip all afternoon. I was smoking wings. Oh my God. It was so awesome. By the time, literally everything was done at game time, baby. And it was glorious. I had a 6-pack. I had some wings. Everything was fantastic. And it was just, what a night.
That's got nothing to do with Friday night.
Yes, it does. Because I have more time Friday night, because I can enjoy some beers at the end of the night, because I don't have to work the next day. All of it is Friday night. Like, you stay. Oh, are you going to tell me it's not easier to stay up till midnight on Friday night than it is on Thursday when you have to get up for work the next day? No,
doesn't make a difference.
Sleep it a little bit on Saturday.
Doesn't make a difference.
Not all of us work at a place where we have to work Saturday, Andrew. That's the point. I think majority of us don't. So
no, my point was, you can still have your buffalo chicken dip ready by whenever the game is on whatever day.
Andrew, but it's the Friday night vibes of, like, I am done with work for the week. I've been cooking this food that's delicious. I'm going to sit here and eat too much food Friday night, and I'm just going to not worry about tomorrow. It was such a great feeling, and I loved every second of it. I can't believe you could. What makes you disagree? I haven't talked to Eagles yet, folks. What makes you disagree that you would rather keep it off Friday night?
Well, first off, yeah, obviously I'd rather watch an NFL game than high school. That's not even an argument.
What are we talking
about? But are you telling me no one's sitting down in front of their TV to watch high school football?
No,
you're going to the game. My point is, Friday night's the day to go out and do something. Like, I don't want to be locked in the house watching another football game that I'm going to do all day Sunday. I'm going to do all day Saturday.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you really wanted to, you could go watch the game at a bar with some friends. And Friday night is typically a night when you go out. You are correct. I like to lock myself into a cave where no one can bother me that's not an Eagles fan, and I don't commit to going to an Eagles bar. But yeah, I mean, that's certainly.
So you can tell me you enjoyed watching the game Friday night over Sunday?
No. I didn't say over Sunday. I didn't say over Sunday. I said over Thursday, and I didn't say this, but especially over Monday night. Monday Night Football, absolutely overrated. I think I'm going to go watch this whole game and stay up till midnight for a game I have no commitment to, and then go to work tomorrow? No, that's crazy. No, I'm going to put half the game on. I'm going to turn it off at halftime because I don't care. I guess I'm a little excited because this is the first commentator game for him, right? But yeah, no, I don't give a shit about Monday night. Why are we doing football on Monday night? If I could pick one day of the week that's not Sunday that we have football, it would absolutely be Friday. Absolutely be Friday. Sundays, I'm not saying replace Sunday, but Thursday night football should be on Friday and the Super Bowl should be on a Saturday. Absolutely.
No.
Die on that hill. I will die on that hill. I will fight you. I will fight anyone. You don't even have to don't arm me with nothing. Just
Apparently,
just just
since it's start the show, the hot takes.
I bring it on,
If we're on the
folks.
Super Bowl, if we're on the Super Bowl,
Bring it on.
get rid of the halftime show. There's
It's
no hot take.
fine with me. I don't
I
really give
hate
a
the halftime.
crap.
I hate the halftime show.
Halftime shows. Halftime show is for the layman folk, though. The halftime show isn't for us. That's the thing. The
I don't care
halftime
who it's
show.
for. Get rid of it. I'm here to watch football, not
I
watch
I
some.
I agree. So let's get back to the Eagles. Eagles played Friday night in Brazil on maybe the worst field I've seen since Super Bowl 57 in Arizona. But it was a slippery soccer field turned into a football field, and man, it was a lot of emotions. A lot of emotions. Look, I already said it. The Eagles won, so overall, definitely in a happy mood mentality this week today. However, there is certainly some criticisms to be said. I think I would not be honest with you guys or myself if I wasn't criticizing some things. And the overall of that is Jalen Hurts, man. He didn't look great. He looked good, and there's a couple of stats here that he's got the numbers game in his favor, but he didn't look great. Is just the best way to put it. Certainly didn't look franchise quarterback esque. Now there's a couple of things, and I think I said it before this game, but this being in Brazil, this almost was a preseason game in the sense that either team could win with the flip of a coin. Someone could have got sick on the plane ride. Someone could have just been jet lagged. Like, there's so many things when you travel internationally, especially like at a great distance. Like, so many things are going to factor into the game that has nothing to do with the two teams on the field. Now, overall, I think Hertz looked like himself, so I have a hard time blaming that for any of the issues. Just something to keep in mind moving forward. I think the biggest thing, the biggest issue, and plenty of people are already talking about this, but you have what was the mental collapse. Mental's not correct. The I'll say like uh the confidence collapse in Jalen Hurts last season with the collapse of the Eagles offense and him not being able to read the blitz and all that stuff and him going out and getting help. I think it was from the Giants. I forget who it was. I knew it was outside the Eagles. Um, a lot of work needed to be worked on with Jalen Hurts, and he self-reflected on that, and I respect that. But he didn't play in the preseason at all because no one does, and the best word for how he looked in Brazil was rusty. And I'm glad we won, but I think we are having a completely different conversation with a completely different attitude if we come out of that game with a loss. Because while he did somehow pull off an 80 passing rating still, I think the numbers just seem so skewed in his favor somehow. And I hate to say this so early on, but he just didn't pass the eye test in that game. It was really like he just didn't look very like confident in his decisions. He was holding onto the ball for a while. Um, I mean, two interceptions in game one, man. I mean, that was some Dak Prescott level shit that we were seeing out of him in the first game. And again, I think he just overall looked rusty, which pisses me off because the guy who is supposed to be the guy who is supposed to be putting in the time, he put in enough to win, which is great, which is why we are where we are today. However, we really man, I'm so conflicted with this because I want to sit here and I want to say we can only go up from here. It's kind of how I actually feel because I do think at the end of the day, the the eye test, the rustiness, that is the issue. So I'm hoping come week 2, he's gonna look a little better. He might be still a little rusty, maybe he's breaking it loose a little bit, but I think he'll look a little better, be a little more confident. But it was a tough week 1 for him. It was definitely a tough week 1 for him. The obvious shining star of the game, is Penn State's own Saquon Barkley scoring not one, not two, but three touchdowns for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, what an addition to this team. I mean, the stars have aligned, and I again, like all of my criticism for Jalen Hurts aside, I this offense looks as dangerous as we hoped it was going to look. It's just a matter of Hurts getting up to speed so that that passing game looks even more intimidating than it already is. And it looks pretty intimidating. And now with Saquon Barkley there, dude, oh my God, just run the ball all day. And when they finally start to stop him, then throw him some passes, change it up a little bit. It's crazy how much depth he adds to the game. That is just, oh my God, it's so exciting. It is so awesome to see such a good player that is on our side in the running back position. This is all like, it's all good things. And AJ Brown is by no means like anything less than a superstar himself. And he wasn't the star of this game. He's it's amazing. We are in a great spot. This is a great time, and hopefully things to come just continue to improve. I've been talking for a while, so I'm going to throw our thoughts over to Andrew for his thoughts.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, obviously, Barkley's the big one to look at here. With a great debut of three touchdowns, over 130 yards, all-purpose yards, counting the receiving game. And yeah, like you said, obviously Hurts has the criticism, but I mean, I'm not taking anything away from it. I mean, you have a new offensive coordinator, new scheme coming in. They didn't do anything in the preseason. You saw the first quarter was basically the preseason, then they all settled. He settled in kind of fine. Um, I think before I get into any more, I think the biggest thing here is because they're kind of getting overlooked in a way, in my opinion, because they end up giving up 29 points. But I think the defense deserves a big shout out for keeping the Eagles even in the game. With the two early turnovers,
Huge.
instead of going down 14-0, you hold the Packers to two field goals. And I mean, shout out to Zach Bond. I mean, 15 tackles, two sacks. Um, it was great. I mean, everyone was worried about the linebacker position, rightfully so. He comes in, offseason signing from the Saints, and people were worried about how much playing time he's going to be able to get. And he came in here and absolutely dominated in that game. So big credit to him coming in and making a name for himself in the first game, his Eagles debut. Again, obviously, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Barkley's the guy that everyone's going to look at. But I think that was huge, keeping you in the game before you found rhythm in that sense. I thought the offensive line looked great. Obviously, had a couple mishaps with the one I think was Hurts' fault on the fumble, and the other one was Jurgens. So I think that obviously will take time. But again, it's the first game, all going underneath center there without Kelsey. I think that's going to take time. But no, I think all in all, it's a fantastic win. I mean, any win when you have to take a 10-hour flight is huge. And I mean, yeah, it took them a little bit, but once they got the feeling underneath their feet from the field and just themselves, I mean, you saw it take off.
Yeah, did you see I forget if it was Eagles or Green Bay. I think it was Packers. They had like maintenance screwing screws into cleats to give it more
Yeah,
traction.
yeah,
Wild.
both.
That the things they had to deal with on that field were insane.
And
Um,
I think that's just partly going from a soccer field to, I mean, they're different in a way.
yeah,
And I mean, soccer players wear different cleats. And I think that obviously factors in there.
I mean the defense was huge, man. The defense definitely isn't getting enough credit. The defense kept us in that game. Now, and I want to stress, they allowed 29 points from Green Bay. Green Bay could have had so much more. They could have done so much more damage to us. And it's truly like, man, the defense just kept the Eagles with a chance. And then they came in the second half and just owned that game, right? Like it was, oh my God, it was just so much fun to watch the defense, really, is what it comes down to. Like I mean, there were, I believe, two field goals that we held them to in the red zone. More than that, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's
No, two.
huge. When we get in the red zone, defensively speaking, and I think everyone looks at the team this way, like not even in a like, oh, woe is me, oh Negadelphia kind of thing, but like when you're in the red zone in the defensive standpoint, kind of chalk that up to a touchdown, right? It's less than 10 yards. You can run about 4 yards a carry. Like, man, what are the chances we're gonna stop him here? Is kind of what goes through your mind. The fact that we were able to do that twice. Huge on the defensive part. And you got to give a shout out to both of the coordinators, offense and defensive coordinators that have joined the show. Uh, but it's just, man, this team, they did really well. I think the NFC is pretty up in the air for the taking. I think a lot of people are kind of blowing up the 49ers because they were in the Super Bowl last year and because they were a really good team. And I think the 49ers are going to have a major Super Bowl hangover like we did last year. I mean, all of the crap with the players doing holdouts and needing extensions and not getting happy essentially until the game. Think
Yeah,
about
speaking of which, Christian McCaffrey just got ruled out. So thanks for killing my fantasy team.
it. Oh my God. How many people are screaming at the heavens for that one right now? That is so funny.
And
Not, I
not
mean,
much you can do when all the other games have played and you're not dropping Christian McCaffrey. So
yeah. So wait, is he injured?
yeah, last minute scratch.
Wait, I thought the Saints were playing today.
Hmm. Jets 49ers.
Jets 49ers. Jets
Aaron
49ers.
Rodgers making his return to the field and
Yep, yep. Might get more than 4 plays in, we'll see.
yeah,
Um I actually got
Christian
Aaron
McCaffrey's
Rodgers
not.
pretty late in my one draft as a backup quarterback. It was really funny, like absurdly late. And I was like, I mean, as far as backups go, he shouldn't be terrible, right?
Right?
Like, we'll
Yeah.
see. My whole point was, I mean, there's been so much bullshit drama with the 49ers team this offseason, literally going into week one. I just, I don't think it's going to be all, daffodils and daisies. They're still a good team, and they should still be a good team. We started out hot last year at 10-1 or whatever. Like, I think the 49ers are going to be good. I don't think they're going to just go dominate like we expect the Kansas City Chiefs to do. Like, they're not the same caliber. I'll say like superstar, not superstar. I've said that too much, but it's not like the same kind of like domain or like dynasty kind of a thing happening here. I'm not really super afraid of the 49ers. Again, they're a good team, but I think between the Lions, the Rams, um, Dallas, and the Eagles, I think the NFC could be anyone's by the end of this year. And I yeah, I don't know. I still think Dak's overrated. I was looking at his stats from yesterday, and his passer rating was an 85. So, again, Hurts. Oh, I don't know if I gave any of my stats, but Hurts had a passer rating of 80, with a completion rating of 60%. Dak had a passer rating of 85, and he had also a completion rating of 60%. So it's like, okay, he had a better passing rating by 5 points, which feels like nothing in that whole bullshit rating world, but also they had the same completion percentage. Um, Mind you, Dak didn't have any interceptions for the first time in his career, but it just feels like, again, there was that whole thing with Dak getting an extension that made him $1 million worth more than Deshaun Watson, who had the highest pay. Like the whole thing with people getting extended when they don't need it and all that bullshit. And I just don't care. And to me, that just shows that you're not committed to the football game. Like, the fact that the Eagles didn't have to deal with any of that, and I'll eat my shorts here because we got rid of Hassan Reddick, right? Like he was the problem child who how he off kicked off the bus and is now still holding out with the Saints, I believe, if I'm remembering that correctly. The Eagles really didn't have that drama this year. And I just feel like we're ready to play football in a way that, you had that going on with Dallas. You had that going on with the 49ers. I don't know, man. I do overall feel good about this game coming off of week one. I think the biggest thing though is uh Hurts needs to practice. I don't know how else to say it. He needs to get in the game. I think it's ridiculous that he's not playing preseason at all, but that's actually Nick Sirianni's decision from what I'm seeing. And he's all about the fact that he's 4-0 coming off of the preseason, not playing a starter. So whatever. Um, yeah, we'll see. I overall, I'm very excited. I'm very happy. Um, yeah, I don't know. I know I bounced around a lot there, Andrew, But I guess how do you feel about the NFC? We're in the like cut each other off part of the show, so like just should have. That was I talked way too much. I just kept going and going and going.
Um, no, I think the preseason stuff goes hand in hand. Do I want him to play preseason? Absolutely. I think it shows, especially when you have a new center, a guy you're calling the snaps from.
And
But
there
here's
was
the
that
thing.
one time where uh uh oh shoot, I'm gonna Jurgen, right?
Cam
That's his
Jurgens.
Jurgens.
Jurgens. Yeah, he
He
snapped it
like
too early.
completely missed the count or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it shows that he's new at it, right? Like, which is fine, but like this is the kind of shit you get out of the way in preseason with 100,000 fans like yelling at you, you know?
Yeah, and I think again, the Eagles, it depends how you value it. And the Eagles clearly value the health of all their players more than one or two bad snaps, right? Because they know they can overcome it, right?
Sure.
It's week one. Green Bay is going to make mistakes too. It's the way week one is. It's ugly football. I think that's the best way to put it. No one's going out of week one going, oh, wow, we played to our best capability. This is how good we're going to look all season. So the Eagles view it as we don't want to lose anybody. We're coming out healthy. We'll figure everything out in game one. And that's the way they're doing it. Sirianni, of course, is going to ride he's 4-0. I mean, there's no reason for him not to brag about it when he's going to be questioned. I mean, he knows how it works. He knows he's going to be questioned about it. Um, but in terms of the NFC, going to that point, I think it's a 5-team race. Um, Obviously, the Eagles, I think the Cowboys, you're going to put there still. Packers, I actually think Packers are one of those teams this year. I think they got a lot
They're
of
very
talent.
good.
I think San Francisco 49ers, and I don't know. I'll say them because everybody else wants to say them. I'm not high on them as everybody else has been the last few years, but the Detroit Lions, I guess you got to throw them in there. Everybody else throws them in there, so I'll just throw them in there as one of the teams we got to look out for. I've never been big on the Lions. I'm not huge on Jared Goff, Dan Campbell, with the coach. I'm not high on him either, but I mean they do have a solid running back, and the receiving core is not terrible, so they can figure things out. But they're the bottom of my five. But I think I think you're right there with the NFC. We'll see how the 49ers look on Monday night. But again, they're another team that obviously they made the Super Bowl last year. But we know how hard it is to go back, right? I mean obviously the Chiefs were an exception, but it's always an exception to the rule. I mean the Eagles saw it. They kind of hit a spot last year after a Super Bowl run where they kind of ran into some tough spots. So like you said, the 49ers started dealing with that drama. And it took a while to figure it out. Guys are signed now, so we'll see how they respond. Eagles got into that trouble. They traded Reddick, and now, yeah, and now it's funny to look back on that and see how Eagles jumped on that one and got rid of the guy. So I'm excited. I think these games, these next few games too for the Eagles, I think you'll be able to see this team work some things out and make strides. I mean, I think especially next Monday night, that's a team you should be able to take care of in your real home opener. I know we're technically the home team against the Packers, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun Monday night. Fans gotta wait another a week for a game. It's gonna be another non-Sunday game before we actually
I
get
know.
that
How
one.
crazy is that?
So yeah, so I'm excited. I think Monday's gonna be a fun game, and obviously we can dive into more of that later. But this team's gonna be good. I think another bright spot on the defense that just blew me away too, just because we haven't seen it in years past, is how much production you got at your first round pick this year's draft and Quinyon Mitchell. I mean, what an impact he had right from the start. I mean, usually it takes the Eagles guys, it turned out to be good, but usually it takes them a year or two. And you finally had a guy that just right from the start of the draft, you saw how good he was in preseason. And I think I said that one time after a preseason game on here, like how excited I was. But again, you had to remember it's preseason, so trying to keep your cool. But yeah, then you got a real game like that, and he exceeded those expectations for a rookie. I mean, he looks like a veteran out there already.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how he continues to develop this year. And to your point, you mentioned too about the progression of the new coordinators too. I mean, yeah, look at Kellen Moore. I mean, you saw it right there. And nothing against the Boston Scott, the Kenny Gainwells, but notice how. And I know it's different. You actually have Barkley this year, but let's remember just a year ago, DeAndre Swift. You bring him in a draft day trade. He's a good back. I mean, he's not Barkley, but he's a good running back. I don't know if you remember this. He didn't even get a carry in
No,
game one with this
no,
because the
no.
Eagles
Swift was
last year.
completely
Yeah,
underutilized.
yeah, last year they were all about switching the running backs. And again, I will say I know Barkley's different than Swift, but the fact that they stuck to Barkley, I think Gainwell finished with 2 or 3 carries in that game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, even that just showed me the difference in coordinators. I mean, outside of scheme, obviously that's a whole other thing, but just that and the fact that you were able to just use one running back and it went a long way. And you saw what way they were calling plays too. And the biggest hurts thing I think he has to figure out is his pass selection. That one in the end zone. I mean, anybody could have told you to not throw that pass. He was just trying to do too much. But no, I think overall, it's what you wanted in game one.
So I think that pretty much wraps up all of our thoughts on the game in Brazil. Like I said, end all be all, the Eagles come out with the win, big win against a very good Green Bay Packers team this year. Um, yeah, I mean, definitely it could be one of the problems in the NFC. I They're in the NFC, right?
Yes. NFC Championship rematch.
That's right. Dallas. Dallas kicked all sorts of ass against the Cleveland Browns. I think there's two sides to that, though. I think the Browns suck. I think Deshaun Watson is extremely overrated. His passer rating was a 50. Uh, I I uh I still can't believe they did that. I think it was an extremely stupid move by Cleveland. Um, yeah, I think they had a fairly easy game. I think Cleveland has a good defense, if I recall correctly. But when it comes to the offense, I just, yeah, I mean, I'm all sorts of not surprised Dallas won that game, and especially because they are a problem. We knew they were a problem coming into this year. I think the thing that surprised me the most is how much of a problem Ezekiel Elliott was in this game. I sure didn't like seeing him as active as I mean when I heard he was coming back to Dallas, I think we all pretty much laughed at that. Like he went to the Patriots, washed up, and then came back to Dallas. It was like, okay, so you're going to be no help at all. But he was actually a pretty big help for the Cowboys during that game. So I don't know. I have to keep an eye on him. And yeah, Dallas just kind of continues to be the problem for the Eagles. Like, I mean, talk about rivalry buildup, man. I certainly think they did their share of that this week.
Yeah, of course. Like you said, I mean, it's the Browns. I don't think anyone can be too surprised they won. Watson, I mean, yeah, he's not the same quarterback. He obviously missed the whole year. The year, he's dealing with the legal trouble. And I think that's clearly showing. He's not the same quarterback. Everyone thought the
Well,
Browns were
and the injury
crazy.
last year.
Yeah, that too. Um, I think everyone thought the Browns were crazy when they gave out that contract at first, all the guaranteed money, and I think they're about to pay the price for it. For
And
I
now
forget.
so many people are sitting here like, how much money are they going to eat if they have to get rid of Watt?
Yeah,
I saw that they went over it on the Pat McAfee show, dude, and the amount of money Cleveland loses to the cap space, it's insane. It is
yeah.
so bad.
I think it's still another 3 or 4 years. So, I mean, yeah, they're in trouble. But that's funny too because I actually don't hate the receivers. Like like I know it's usually the other way around. You have a quarterback, you're like, oh, if we can just get a receiver or two, he
Yeah,
could actually do some damage. Like they got Amari Cooper and they got Jerry Judy in the offseason from Denver. I think those are actually two very well high caliber receivers. If you actually put them in a good offense and mix them up with a couple different guys, like I'd easily take them all like on the Eagles. Like that's I think like anybody I think would take them on their team. So that's the funny part about the whole thing is it's not like Watson can have any excuses either. Even the running backs. I mean, Nick Chubb's out. I know for right now, but Jerome Ford's not a bad back as the backup there. He didn't have too bad of a day. So I mean, yeah, it's really on Watson. It is basically what I'm trying to say there. Um, and yeah, he made that an easy win for the Cowboys there. Obviously, credit to the Dallas, another team. We talked about the 49ers earlier, another team that dealt with all sorts of contract rumor issues between CD Lamb, Dak Prescott getting a deal. That was oddly like right before the game. I thought that was
so
kind of
weird.
weird. I know it's always the agents doing the deals, but like
Yeah,
it was weird. It was like 3 hours before kickoff.
yeah, he's got nothing
And
better to
that
do in that time.
And now they still got to figure out the Parsons situation. They haven't paid him yet. I don't know how they're gonna have the money. They're gonna have to get rid of people. Um, so
Parsons,
that's
just come to Philly. You know you want to. You know
he,
you want to.
he wants to.
Come
Howie would find
join
a way.
Saquon Barkley in Penn State heaven next week when we play the Atlanta Falcons on Monday Night Football. I mean, man, I don't want to hype it up too much, but when the Atlanta Falcons lost to a Pittsburgh Steelers that didn't even score a touchdown, um, I sure hope we blow them out of the water.
Um, I don't know. I mean, the Eagles should 100% win. I think Falcons aren't a bad team. Pittsburgh's never a team to look over. They always find ways to win. I mean, look at Mike Tomlin. The guy's never had a losing season in his NFL tenure. Um, so I mean, that team outside a few teams, he just always finds a way to win with what he's got. We're facing
Yeah,
prime
but
time.
I mean,
I'm just saying, like, there's
I
guys on that
mean,
Falcons. There's guys on that Falcons team that can give you trouble. Robinson's a very good running back. He's no joke in the backfield. He could have a day. He could get. I mean, so again, Eagles I think win the game. I mean, the line only opens at 4. I mean, the line this past weekend was 2.5. So this one is opening at 4. So I think that says a little bit too. And you're home. So the fact that it's only opening at 4, I think it's gone up to 5 maybe now at this point. But still, I think that says a lot. I mean, if this was an easy look over win, I mean, I think you're looking at a line that's more 7.5 to 8.5.
true.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins has been in the league for a while too. So, um,
that was an abysmal game. Abysmal performance. You go and lose to that team. After that, I will come on here embarrassed. Like,
again, I'm not saying you should lose or will lose. I'm just saying, I guess it's what's your term, what's your definition of an easy win? Like, I guess I'd be surprised like if this is a double digit win.
I think this is a 10-point win.
Okay, I mean, sorry. I guess when you first said, well, I'm thinking like 3 touchdown, like that's
No,
an easy.
like if we won, what did you just say? The spread's 4. That's close. Like to me, if you win by anything less than a touchdown, pretty much a field goal. Like that's a close game. If you win by a touchdown and a field goal, like like I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a 2 possession game. In my opinion, if you win by 2 possessions, that's an easy win. Like you had control of the game. Like I'm not sitting here talking about didn't the Panthers lose by like 50 points or something this week?
Yeah, no, the Panthers, that was embarrassing. I think it was a 40 point game, right?
Unreal. But no, I'm not saying that. I don't think it's going to be a 4 point. I don't think it should be anyway. And it's kind of weird looking at the schedule, right? Like we have we're a week 5 bye. I don't remember the last time we were such an early bye. And back to back primetime games with this Friday night to Monday night. That's kind of crazy. We won't have a Sunday game until week 3. But yeah, no, I think I'm just about wrapped up with Eagles talk. We'll go into Phillies, some Philly love, some brotherly love. Yeah, you got something, Andrew?
I would say last thing, just because we talked about it briefly, it just
Yeah.
came out because he was supposed to play tonight, but he's obviously not. And in Reddick, that is officially ruled out and won't play due to him holding out. Imagine this: he's forfeiting $791,000 plus tonight just to miss one game. Imagine me like, yeah, I don't need that.
And you know
Basically
he
eight hundred
doesn't.
thousand
Like that's
dollars.
the crazy
No,
thing,
no,
right? Like,
that's why he's doing it. And that's just tonight. That's not counting all the training camp he missed and preseason games. So I don't even know what his
yeah,
total.
I saw it added up. It's in the millions. I think it's less than 10 million, but I think it's somewhere between 1 and 10 million.
That's crazy. But yeah,
Which,
anyway, yeah. Since
yeah,
he's
no.
officially forfeiting away tonight's game, he's forfeiting away.
Like what loser, dude? Like who it sucks, man. I liked Reddick. Like you can't sit here and be like, that's a guy I want on my team. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if he did that in Philly and he was still here, no one would want to see him on the field and he'd get booed off the field.
This would be funny. Would you trade back for him though? I would.
See, I was hearing about that on the Anthony Gargano show, dude. Why
He's
would you
so
want
good.
him right now?
Because if you're trading back for him, you know he's been here before. He succeeded here.
I don't know. I think if we need it, I'm not against it,
But
but
that's a position you do need.
I know,
If
but dude,
there's one thing this defense needs is pass rush.
I'm a vibes guy, dude, and to me,
But see, again,
this
it's different for me.
screams the game is about. This is it's a me show, and Reddick is not like I don't think he's good enough to be that guy. I
I
don't.
I think it's a little different only because I'm usually with you, right?
He's
I'm
also
usually
like
with you.
35.
I am usually with you, but I think this is a little different just because he's been here before, so he knows the vibes. He's a Temple guy. He's a Philly guy already. So I
He's
think
29.
so. I do think in this instance it's a little different, just because again, correct if I'm wrong, so you probably have it up still, but I'm pretty sure he went to Temple. So he's been in the city, the town a while.
Yep.
He's already been with the Eagles. So again, I think this situation is a little different. In that
And
case,
he went to high school in Jersey, so he is like straight up like a Delco kind of
that's
guy.
what I thought. That's what I
Like
thought. So
yeah, all right. You know what? I'm back in. I'm back in. But like
so
that's what. But
Howie
you can't.
Roseman, make things right. Go get me Reddick.
But see, that's the other thing though is if look, I think I was gonna make a joke about this earlier and I didn't, but we are at a point where we just have to trust Howie. 100%. Whatever he does, trust him. He got rid of Reddick and he ended up being a problem somewhere else, right? So if he brings him back, I trust that he squashed the beef and does what needs to be done, kind of a thing. Like I trust that he makes it clear like the game comes first, kind of a thing. But I don't know. I don't know. I certainly wouldn't say no. I would have to trust Howie's decision to bring him back, but I really am not sitting here hoping it happens. All right, so I believe the last time we talked, we were geared up for a Braves series with the Philadelphia Phillies, and oh boy, they came out on top of that one. Andrew, would you like to remind them what that series ended up being?
Yeah, series win for the Phillies in a 4-game series. Took that one
Three
three
and
to
one,
one.
baby. 3-1. I was so pumped. I mean, I know I came in here and I was talking. I was like, "Yo, what if we swept the Braves? Like, how cool would that be?" But like to actually go and win that series, I think it says a lot. You know, going into September, getting ready for October. I think when it comes to this rivalry between the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies, you know, just being like, no, we're not splitting it 500 with you. We are winning this series. So get ready to not have this division. Because it certainly did, in my mind, solidify we're going to win the division. Anything could happen, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. I think I counted like 19 games left in the season, um, including today. You never know. You never know what can happen. But I am pumped. That was that was awesome, dude. There were so many things exciting about that. We had two tie-breaking wins, both won by Casty, I think, if I remember correctly. Definitely the last one. It was just such an exciting series.
Yeah, it was exciting. This team went out, did what they were supposed to do. We all talked about it. That series could go one of two ways. You could pretty much put the division to rest and bury the division, or you can make things interesting and struggle that series. And the Phillies answered the call. You built even more lead then, obviously. Now the Braves are fighting for their playoff lives. I mean, I think at this point, it's a high possibility the Braves miss the playoffs. So I
Whoa.
think
To the
you
Mets?
really, yeah. I mean, they're tied. They're tied. They're both 78 and 65. I'm sure they play each other. It's going to come down to who wins those division games whenever those games happen. Um, Braves are down 1-0 to Cincinnati right now. Mets are playing a struggling Toronto team. So by the time we get on here next, I mean, there's a two different series. Both those guys got to go play. So yeah, we could be talking next time, and the Braves not being in a playoff spot, because right now they're tied for the final playoff spot. So who knows the
I,
directions it's going to go.
I
But
will say I did not expect this upcoming Mets series to be as important as it is. Well, I guess there's two of them, but like either of them really.
I don't know. People are still saying it. I don't know. I'm not worried. I think the division's worse. At this point, you're hoping to. To
I
me,
mean,
I'm
to your point, I get your point, but there's also 7 games with them left. Like that's a lot. That's a lot of meat on the bones there.
It is, but three of them at home, so I'm not that worried there. I think you definitely take two or three at home, so you build another lead there, extend it, and then just go down there and split in New York. I know that's the easy way out of it and stuff, but that's all you got to do. Go take care of business at home, go win two out of three, and then go split in New York. So then you're looking at, I mean, based off those, you're still looking at an 8 game lead. So in those games, just go 4-3. I mean, that's all you got to do. It doesn't need to be pretty. I mean, right now, and I was gonna get this later, but right now the Phillies' biggest concern, and I think I've said this a couple times because I know people started to panic. You know me, I've been very laid back with it. I have not been as worried. Um, the biggest thing right now is the Phillies need to get healthy. Alec Boehm's on the DL or the IL, excuse me. Um, JT Realmuto is dealing with a knee injury again. He's out to at least Friday. Maybe he goes on the IL right before the playoffs. So you're looking at a couple things there. Obviously, Ranger Suarez came off the IL. He hasn't had his velocity right since coming off the IL. I mean, he's managed through it. He threw 5 scoreless his last time out, but his velocity is not where you want it at. So that tells me his back's still being a little bit of a problem for him right now. So to me, I mean, again, I'm not worried. I think this division is going to be ours when it's all said and done. I'm more worried about
You
you need
think
to
we're
find
our
a
own biggest problem?
yeah, you need to find a way to get healthy. And even with Harper, I mean, we've heard it. He's
Yeah,
dealing with those elbow and arm issues that
dude, he
he's
needs to rest.
he's playing through.
I,
But
I
I get it. It's easy for me here as a fan to sit here and say, 7 game lead, blah blah blah. But the players are playing it right. They're treating it as it's far from over. They're playing it the right way, and that's the way the players and the coaches do have to play it. Because yes, if you start resting guys and keeping everyone out, then yeah, then the division gets dicey. But
yeah, but that's a fine line, right? Like Harper is hurt. Like there's no denying it. It's like we're talking like Embiid in the playoffs right now. Like Harper is not 100%. And do you rest him for a game, 2 games, just to try and let that rest, like kind of like we'll say like the swelling go down, kind of a thing? Like we're not. I'm not sitting here telling him to skip a week, but I feel
I
like
and
I mean,
I would
look, if you don't go out there and get first place so he at least gets the bye, I mean, he's going to be in rough shape come October.
So that's what I was going to say because I have been with you. I agree. I would have. I said this a week ago. I forget if it's in our group chat or a different group chat, but I would have put Harper on the IL about a week and a half ago. I think now at this point it's too late to do that. Um, but I would have done that a week and a half ago. That way he come back, have a week left of the regular season, kind of get underneath, figure out his rhythm again, going into the playoffs. Um, and then yeah, I think their concern was at the time it got a little dicey for the bye. Now you've kind of extended that lead a little bit again because the top 2 seeds get a bye. So you have a 3 game lead on the 2 seed. So you should be in a good spot to get a bye. And I think that's the way they played it was, yeah, Harper's power might be down, but he's still hitting for average. He's still driving in runs. So he's still better than not having him. So I think they're playing the long game there where let's earn that bye, get the week off there for Harper in the playoffs. So again, I get it from their standpoint. That's the way they want it. Um, and that's the way they're playing it. And obviously, it's been working. Obviously, you had a little hiccup in the back end of that Miami series, but before that, you won, what was it, 6 straight. So again, I think you're in a good spot overall. Now you want to dive into an important series again. Obviously, yeah, the Mets to an extent important series, but the series after that, the Milwaukee Brewers, that's the team you're fighting for that second bye for, and you're going down to their place in Milwaukee. So
Yeah.
that's the series you got to be ready for. Again,
Where's Milwaukee?
Wisconsin. I just say down. I say down no matter
Where's
where it is.
Wisconsin?
I'd say I'm going down to Canada still. That's just the way I speak. It's just I just say down.
I'm going up to Mexico. I'm going down to Canada.
I'm gonna play a long game here, right? Let's say you take 2 or 3 Tampa Bay, 2 or 3 New York, and 2 or 3 at Milwaukee. Obviously, it's best case scenario.
Sure.
Now you've built a lead. Now I think you got a little flexibility. Now I think you might see them rest Harper here and there. Now you might see them rest other guys here and there because you took care of business. You built the lead on the Brewers and the Mets. Um, and then you get the Cubs and Washington to end the year, which eases up. So again, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting how they play it out because again, I think you're your own worst enemy right now in terms of the health
Yep.
issues. Um, and again, you see it, and I think in a way it's oh, and I forgot Edmundo Sosa, who's done a great job filling in with guys that have been hurt. He's on the IL now too. So even your big time role player off the bench is now dealing with injuries. So uh, again, it is going around the team right now. I mean, I'd rather now than the first week of October. So I think in a way we can look at a little thankful that it's happened now. But the problem is it going to roll over to the playoffs? And hopefully we have a little time to figure that out.
I never know how to interpret the magic number, but do you, if I'm reading this here, do you have the magic number for Phillies right now? What's that?
Um, Sorry, there's a play. The pitcher dropped the
Oh,
ball. They
I don't
caught
have
they caught him out.
I can't multi-screen
Um,
like you are apparently. Um, Andrew watching the Phillies right now taking on the Tampa Bay. I almost said Buccaneers. No, the Rays.
yeah, I was reading it this morning. The division. Well, the
13?
division's easier. I
Yeah,
will say that.
of course.
If you look at it, it tells you actually. Well, it used to. I don't know if it still does. I was going to describe it if it did, but it looks like they got rid of it. I don't know why they got rid of it because it was very helpful.
I'm
But it
on
used to have it.
Phillies Nation right now, and they have a list here on an
Yes,
article.
that's who I've been reading. But the MLB standings on MLB.com used to have a elimination number as one of the columns on the standings, and it was
Maybe
great
it's too
because
early. Maybe they're gonna add it later, or it was there already this season. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there.
no, I'm talking about years past. So maybe
Ah,
you're
gotcha,
right.
gotcha.
I would have thought September 9th with, as you mentioned earlier, 17 games left of the year. I figured that'd be late enough to have it, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm
Uh,
pretty sure to answer your original question. Sorry, I think the elimination number, or the magic number for the division's 12. No, I am backwards. I think playoff spots 12, divisions 14, and then the bye is 17.
I have division is 13 by 17. From Phillies Nation. Um,
Well, playoff spot, not that. I mean, we're gonna be in the playoffs. But
but so with it being like 18 or 19 games left, so what? Again, this is assuming
so
every other team was going to go undefeated. Like
yeah,
like
so the way it works for those who don't know is you gain. It's like tonight, the Braves are playing the Reds, right? So you said the magic number is 13.
yeah.
So if the Phillies win, it's down to 12. It's a mixture of Phillies wins and the team you need to lose to lose. So if the Phillies win, it's automatically down to 12. And now if you get a Braves loss, well, the Braves and Mets are tied now. So now you need a Braves loss and a Mets loss for it to go to 11.
Right, so they affect the magic
Yes.
number as much as we do,
Yeah. So it's a
basically.
combination of the wins. And so hypothetically, right? It says the Phillies lose tonight, but the Braves and Mets both lose. Your magic number still drops to 12 because those two teams lost.
Right. Gotcha. So, it's exciting stuff. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a good place to be. I don't have any specific game stuff going on. I had a bunch of Brave stuff ready back when it happened, but it's been a little past now. That was a really fun series to watch. I watched the whole series. I don't think I missed it. I think I missed one game of the four games. Yeah, no, it
This
was
one we
exciting. I got
lost,
to
so we can
see.
blame the loss on you. No,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. No, I'm pretty sure the loss was when I saw. I saw the Miami games. Uh, yeah, no, dude. I don't know. I don't really have much else to say for the Phillies either. I mean, you hit everything. We were talking about playoff shots. We were talking about the injuries. It's it's uh it's just a matter of getting things going, man. And you said it like I am a little more I think I'd say excited really for the Mets series because like I did not anticipate that to be a meaningful series in any way as opposed to like the not Braves, the Brewers series was always going to have meaning, right? Between them just being a good team, between them being a NL rival, between Hoskins being on them, right? Like there's all sorts of things that made the Milwaukee Brewers series a interesting series to look forward to. I just never anticipated the Mets series to really have meaning at this point, and it does. So it's one I'm a little more excited for now, and a little more nervous for Milwaukee.
yeah, and they were looking for revenge too. We went out there and went out there. We stayed home and swept them in Philly, so they're going to be looking to take that series back, obviously. But At least you can't lose the season series there. At worst, you can tie it, even if you hypothetically got swept to them. But I mean, really, you just got to make sure you get one out of that series. Keep your lead, keep the tiebreaker there. I honestly forget hypothetically if you did get swept and you were tied, what the second tiebreaker would be after head to head.
Don't you put
But
that on me, Ricky Bobby.
no, yeah, that's why it's important to go get one. You gotta go at least get one. Obviously, more is always better, but
It's always
um, it's gonna be a fun. It's gonna be a fun series. I think. I think the end of the year schedule, I will say this, shapes out great for the Phillies in terms of you, like you said, you end up these Mets series became more important than they were, let's say, 3 weeks ago, because of the way it came out. So you got you got a tough Rays team this weekend or this beginning of the week, a team that's fighting for their lives and hovering around 500. Then you have the big Mets series, big Brewers series, big Mets series again. So you continue to play relevant baseball, and then you end with an easier end where you can hopefully rest guys in that sense, and then be ready for the playoffs. So I do think the end of the year schedule has shaped out pretty good for this team, and every way you want it to.
well said. All right, before we get going, little quick college football corner from Andrew and I. Penn State did end up beating
Oof.
who the hell did we play? Some no-name team
Bowling
from
Green.
Ohio, Bowling Green. I gotta tell you, I have the rankings up right now from today. Shocked we didn't drop in the rankings at all. Even one. Like that was such a bad game. I thought for sure we were going to drop 210, if not out of the top 10. But we stayed at number 8, so that's pretty good for us actually. Oklahoma State, on the other hand, climbing, got the 14th spot right now. How you feeling about that, dude?
Well, to your point too, I'm surprised they climbed a little bit. They didn't look great. They go down 14-0, 21-7 overall. So they had me on the ropes as well. And then it took overtime to win. Obviously, again, I mean, 2 wins, 2-0. You'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah,
But no, they didn't look great either this week. They were going into that game, I think, 9.5 point favorites, and you go and get stuck in overtime. So obviously, yeah, a lot to clean up, just like Penn State. But no, I'm excited. There's no reason this team OSU shouldn't fight for a Big 12 conference title and then a playoff spot. So
that's it. It's
I think it's gonna
so
be a fun back end for
sorry.
both of us.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's gearing up for a good season. I think I said it before, but like week one was a good win, right? Like that was a good win for Penn State, and it was really like, oh my God, coming out of the West Virginia with that win was awesome. Uh, this not so much. I'm glad we won, but Bowling Green, I mean, the spread was like 30 something. Bowling Green, an equivalent to Akron, and I keep looking at this. Ohio State won like 50-6 or 60-6 against Akron, right? Like that's the kind of thing a playoff college football team does. And in college football, they look at the shit that's like, oh, how did they do against these teams? So I'm just saying, I'm not I'm not feeling great. I'm excited. I'm having a fine, good time, but I think you said it well that we've got we've got some exciting games ahead of us. Actually, I misread this list. Oh, Oklahoma moved up to 13.
I think you probably read one of them right. It's 13 in one poll, 14 in the other. They do like 5 million polls.
So I have AP top 25 and the AFCA coaches poll. So
Yeah,
AP is the actual like list though, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that has Oklahoma at 13, Penn State at 8 still. Penn State actually moved up in the coaches poll. So I
Well,
that's
you can thank that because it could be worse. Sorry, Luke, on this one. But did you hear about Notre Dame?
no. They
I don't know what
dropped they dropped to 18.
Well, how about this? So, they lose to Northern Illinois. First off, I mean, you just can hear how bad that is. Second off, then it comes out. For those who don't know, usually when these bigger schools play the smaller schools, like Penn State probably paid Bowling Green.
Yeah.
Well, it then comes out that Notre Dame paid Northern Illinois $1.4 million to come play them. So you just paid $1.4 million to lose.
To lose. You lose. I didn't know they lost to at
I'm
all, let
pretty
alone
sure I could be wrong on the team. I'm pretty sure they're doing the Illinois. So shout out to them for getting the win and getting $1.4 million.
And getting $1.4 billion, more money than that school's ever seen in their life. That's insane. Sucks to suck. Northern Illinois, dude. That's so funny. All right, let's end on that that fun note for us. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to Philly Sports Now, a Philly fan podcast. You can find us everywhere. Videos are on YouTube under my account, The Philly Gamer. We are on Spotify. This is probably where you're listening. We have the most things. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. We've got Philly's Red October gearing up. We've got the Atlanta Falcons coming to the Link for Monday Night Football. It's a great time to be a Philly fan as my cat tries to eat the microphone. I gotta get out of here. Yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Go Birds! Go!